Right, so I'll call the regular meeting of Township Council for the purpose of a public hearing to order. Of course, I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional territories of the Coast Salish peoples, and in particular, acknowledge our relationships with the Katzie, Kwantlen, Matsqui, and Semiahmoo First Nations. That, Mr. Richardson, you can do the preamble.
A public hearing is a statutory requirement under Section 464 of the Local Government Act and must be held before third reading of a community plan, land use contract amendment bylaw, heritage designation bylaw, or heritage revitalization agreement bylaw. During a public hearing, council acts in a quasi-judicial role for the purpose of allowing persons who believe their interest in property is affected by a bylaw, permit, or other matter to make representations to council, either orally, by written submission, or to add comments to or elaborate upon correspondence that may have already been presented to council concerning the bylaws. It is important to note that council is not able to receive any additional information on the bylaws following the public hearing as dictated by case law. The hearing procedure involves an explanation from the Community Development Division on the purpose of the proposed bylaws and to hear from individuals regarding the bylaws. In order to ensure that all interested parties have a reasonable opportunity to be heard, speakers are requested to keep representations as brief and succinct as possible and no longer than 5 minutes in duration, excluding the time required for questions from council. Speakers will be asked to state their name, neighborhood, and city for the record. And if referring to prepared remarks, to submit copies of these to the township clerk. Decorum must be always maintained. This includes refraining from applause, booing, or heckling. To assist with large numbers of speakers, individuals must advise the township clerk and sign the speakers list prior to the commencement of the public hearing. The names on the speakers list will be read out during the hearing. Individuals who have already addressed council and wish to add further submissions will wait until the people that have not yet addressed council have had an opportunity to speak. All submissions and speaker lists are considered part of the public record. Council members should not express their views nor debate the bylaws. However, they may question speakers to clarify particular points in their submissions. Council may consider third reading or third reading and final adoption at this meeting or at its next regular meeting. Thank you.
With that, can I get a motion to adopt the agenda? Moved by Councillor Pratt, seconded by Councillor Ferguson. Any discussion? Call the question on A1. That carries unanimously with Councillor Richter absent. Mr. Richardson, item B1.
Thank you, Worship. The subject bylaw amendments pertain to the Brookswood Fernridge Community Plan and the Fernridge and Booth Neighborhood Plans. Following a public hearing on June the 10th, 2024, Council adopted the Fernridge Neighborhood Plan. The plan included a low-density residential minimum 1 acre land use designation of the Fernridge Crescent area. On June 10th, Council also directed staff to petition the Fernridge Crescent area and report to Council on potential area amendment for additional density. Accordingly, staff mailed a petition to 38 properties. 22 property owners responded in favor of increasing the density, 4 property owners responded not in favor, and 12 property owners did not respond. This slide indicates the subject properties. In conjunction with Council's consideration of first and second reading of the proposed Fernridge Crescent amendments on November 18th, Council advanced additional land use designation amendments at 19677 24th Avenue to update from park and open space to employment, 2030 200th Street, 2013 200th Street, and adjacent property to small-scale multi-unit housing 3, 1980 20th Avenue, and 200th Street portion of 2759 200th Street, update to row house townhouse in the Booth Neighborhood Plan. This slide indicates the amendment locations. Accordingly, bylaw 6057 amends the Fernridge Neighborhood Plan pertaining to 37 properties on Fernridge Crescent from low-density residential to Fernridge Crescent area with a minimum lot size of 10,000 square feet, a property located at 2030 200th Street from low-density residential to small-scale multi-unit housing 3 or 5,000 square foot lots, properties located at 2013 200 Street and adjacent property from small-scale multi-unit housing 2, minimum lot size 7,000 square feet, to small-scale multi-unit housing 3, minimum lot size 5,000 square feet, and a property located at 19677 24th Avenue from park and open space to employment. Additionally, bylaw 6057 amends the Booth neighborhood plan by amending land use designations for properties at 19980 20th Avenue and the 200 Street portion of 2759 200 Street from small-scale multi-unit housing 3 with a minimum lot size of 5,000 square feet to row house townhouse. Your worship, newspaper ads for the proposed bylaw ran on January 20th, 25 in the Langley Advance Times and January 23rd in the Herald Gulf Star, meeting the requirements of the Local Government Act. 342 public notices in the form of address-specific postcards were sent out on January the 15th to registered owners and occupants of the subject areas, as well as those within 100 meters. Your worship, 3 written submissions have been received, and we have no individuals noted on the speakers list.
Great. Are there any submissions from the public on item B1? And then for a second time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? Then for a third and final time, are there any submissions from the public on item B1? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing for item B1. Does anybody wish to move consideration of third and final reading? Moved by Councillor Rint, seconded by Councillor Pratt. Call the question on consideration of third and final B1. That carries unanimously. Does anybody wish to move third and final reading as outlined in the first? Moved by Councillor Rint, seconded by Councillor Pratt. Is there any discussion on that? No, seeing none. Mr. Richardson, you can highlight again for council that the petition process, how often have you done that in your career here to specifically petition a neighborhood for feedback on an OCP amendment?
Sorry, my microphone. First time practice, your worship.
Yeah, and I hope council appreciates the process and likes the fact that people have the chance to weigh in and provide additional feedback specific to an amendment. With 85% that did responding in favor, I support the amendment. Does anybody else have any discussion about it or any concerns or questions for staff? Go ahead, Councilor Brent-Popta. Yep. There you are. Go ahead.
So 85% responded, or 85% responded in favor?
Mr. Richardson, go ahead.
85% of those who responded in favor.
Okay, and how many responded, percentage-wise? 22 of 26, okay. Perfect, thank you.
Yep, 26 of 38 responded.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion on the third and final reading? Yep, call the question on B1. That carries unanimously. Councillor Richter absent. I'd like to move the council adopt Brookswood Fernridge Greenway amenity policy as amended. Seconded by Councillor Bailey. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, call the question on that item of B1. That carries unanimously. I'd like to move the council adopt the Brookswood Fernridge arterial road completion amenity policy as amended. Seconded by Councillor Rint. Is there any discussion on that? Seeing none, I'll call that question on that item of B1. That carries unanimously. Get a motion to terminate. Moved by Councillor Rint, seconded by Councillor Bailey. All those in favor, opposed, and that's carried. Thank you.